Trustees meeting for May 15th. And first of all, welcome, and I do apologize that I'm behind a couple of minutes here, but we'll get going. So would just like to start with the roll call, please. So if we could start to my right and then go around, that would be great.
Corey Ferris, Staff Liaison.
Sally Peterson, Vice Chair.
All right.
Christiana Allen Pipkin.
Elizabeth Nelson, City Council Liaison.
Zach Damon, I am the chairman.
Tim Hall.
Matthew Solomon, Commissioner.
Kathleen Mozak-Butts, Commissioner.
Debbie Poster, Commissioner.
Larry Keeler, Commissioner.
All right, and welcome everyone, and thank you so much for coming and visiting us on the, probably, I would say, one of the most beautiful days so far. So thank you for being indoors with me. Next is the approval of today's agenda, so please just take a quick second to review that. If you do have any questions or any corrections, please feel free to mention those at this time. Kathleen, you have one?
Yes, I will not have a report today because yesterday was the second Tuesday of the month for the disability concerns at U of M, so I will have that next month.
Okay, thank you. All right, so there will be no report for the UM Council for Disability Concerns. Is everyone okay with sort of striking that from the agenda today?
Yes.
All right,
Can we just note that actually the minutes did come in this afternoon from
Oh.
yesterday's meeting? So I got a copy of them.
Okay.
okay,
But you haven't had, so maybe we can just say in lieu of a report that we'll attach the minutes since they're like 2 hours fresh, so.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Usually it takes a week to get them. That's a quick
Yeah, so-
turnaround.
Well, I got them from Anna today, so, and
Okay.
they should have, I'm sure you've gotten them, and are you getting them, Corey?
I did not get them, no.
I will forward them to Corey, how's that?
Okay.
okay.
And
Yeah,
then
thank you,
we can
Sally.
make them, I mean, I haven't had a chance to read them, I'm sure you haven't either, but at least they can be attached
Yep,
for information.
yep, great. Thank you. I'll make sure, Corey, can we make sure that those are attached for information? Thank you. Great. All right. Okay. Anything else at this time, folks? All right. That seems to be it. So other than the UM Council for Disability Concerns, is there anyone who would like to motion approving the agenda for today?
I'll move to approve.
All right, Larry moves to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, there is a second. All in favor of approving today's agenda with the correction, say aye.
Aye.
All right, agenda is approved. All right, next we have approval of the April 17th meeting minutes. And I would like to take a few minutes to review those if you have not. And then if there are any corrections or any deviations, please feel free to mention those at this time. Okay, there doesn't seem to be any corrections for the minutes, so, all right,
Oh, sorry, under public comments,
okay,
Lloyd Shelton's name is spelled incorrectly.
okay. All right. Do we know the correct spelling of that? or-
Lloyd.
Okay. Thank you, Christiana.
No problem.
I wasn't at the meeting, but I read in the minutes that there was a question about whether or not there's an ADA person on staff. Did anyone find the answer to that question? You did, okay, so I'll let you
Yep.
report on that then.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Um, later or now?
Well,
or-
I was going to sort of get through the
Okay.
approval of the minutes first, and then I was going to ask
Okay.
you about that moving forward. So
Okay.
is that okay, guys,
Yep.
if we do that, if we move forward? Okay.
Yeah, I had one other thing. It says investing in mobility month on the Council for Disability Concerns. Is that investing in ability or is it?
Correct.
It's
That was going to be my
ability, yeah.
correction. It's
Okay.
investing in ability.
So it's investing in
Ability, not mobility.
Thank you, Tim.
Sally, thank you for flagging that issue.
All right. Any other corrections? All right, so just Lloyd and then investing in abilities, week. All right. So now that we have those corrections, is there a motion to approve the corrected minutes from the April 17th meeting?
I'll move to approve it.
All right, Larry moves to approve. Is there a second?
Second?
Oh, all right, Tim seconds. All in favor of approving the corrected meeting minutes from April 17th, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. So that is approved. And next, we move to presentations. So I'd like to, do we have Katie here today? Is she
Katie's not here today because of vendor fair.
Oh, that's right.
Visions.
That's right. I was hoping to get through to that, but she is at Visions today at the library, and I didn't get a chance to go by. Larry, did you make it over there?
I did not. I had meetings today.
Okay, no problem. So Katie will not be reporting because she's at the library, but we'll have her back next month. So let's hope that there's a big crowd for her and that it's successful. All right. Next, Sophie Scotialak for the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living. Welcome, Sophie.
Hi, Sophie.
I did go to Visions, and it was very successful.
Good.
So it was a very good event, and Katie did a great job. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is our Movin' and Groovin' Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on March 14th through May 30th. A RSVP is required, so you can call 734-971-0277 or email receptionist@aacil.org. This is a event where dancers from the Ballet Chelsea Adaptive Program will be here to lead a multi-ability dance class spanning multiple genres of dance. Learn to move to the beat no matter your ability or disability. The next thing I will talk about is our free open gym hours. Those are Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And to use the gym, you need to schedule an orientation, and you can schedule the orientation by emailing info@aacil.org. Next is our Hearing Loss Association support group. They meet monthly on the second Monday from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Prior to attending your first meeting, please contact Pam McGinty at pamc86@gmail.com. The Multiple Sclerosis Support Group meets every Monday from 7 to 8:30 p.m. And to attend, please contact Jody Burton at 734-663-0785. Our General Support Group meets every Wednesday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. And to attend, you can email Jason Jones at jjones5perard or PERAD @icloud.com. Diversability Theater meets every Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And to go to Diversability Theater, which is held at the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living, you can contact Chris Beatty at BeattyMOHN@yahoo.com. And then our drop-in art is Monday, Thursday, and Friday, which meets every week, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And you can email art@aacil.org. The next thing I wanted to talk about is our gala that's coming up. I actually brought invitations for everybody. I'm going to be like Katie and hand things out. Striving to be her.
Thank you.
Well, and I have to say, folks, I've attended this event over the years, and it's a great event for a great cause, and of course, I hope a lot of us in the commission can plan to attend as well.
Yes, going to be Friday, June 14th, from 6:30 PM to 10 PM. There's dinner, dessert, live music, live auction, and enhanced raffles. It'll be held at the University of Michigan North Campus Research Complex, Building 1-8, and that's 2800 Plymouth Road, Ann Arbor, Michigan, 48109. We just decided to hold it in Ann Arbor because, central location. But to RSVP, you can go to our website at www.annarborcil.org/gala, or go to email events@aacil.org, or call 734-971-0277, extension 55. Tickets are $80 per person or $160 per couple.
Ouch.
If you're a CIL participant, tickets are $40 per person. And it's a great event, and it really helps us in our fundraising. If you have any other questions about any of our other events, you can always contact us at 734-971-0277 or visit our website, www.annarborcil.org. Any
Awesome.
questions? Yes, Catherine?
Kathleen?
So let's say someone wants to attend the gala, but they may need special accommodations. Is that doable on the reservation page, or do they contact you directly with those concerns?
It is actually on the reservation page. You can detail dietary restrictions or reasonable accommodations.
Okay.
Anybody else?
And then, of course, with it being a gala, the attire is business professional, is that correct?
Yes. Yes, it will be my first gala, so.
Okay.
So I believe so. It is fancier. I'll be wearing a dress or a pantsuit.
Sure.
What are you wearing?
I believe so. I haven't decided yet.
And when you say CIL participant, could you explain what that means?
Center for Independent Living Consumer, or somebody who's worked with one of our staff members
Thank you.
or volunteered. Anybody else?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sophie. And again, I hope, a lot of us commissioners can consider attending. It's a great event, so thank you. All right. Next is our public comment section, and it seems a bit lonely out there, so I don't think we have any,
Students.
any students today. Well, it's too nice of a day, I think, folks. They're all flying kites. But yeah, so no public comment, so I'll move forward. Next, we'll go to old business and the city personnel report. Corey Ferris.
Yes, I do have something to share. This evening, today at 5:30, from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. in the Justice Center lobby, they're having a meet and greet for the 3 police chief candidates. So if you guys want to stop in sometime after the meeting, meet them, there's going to be some food, please by all means do.
Awesome. Thank you, Corey. All right. Next, we'll move on into the chair report. And I only have one brief announcement here. So hopefully all of you, before I arrived, had the opportunity to speak with Sherry Sell. She is the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer with the city, and she's very interested in sort of being able to speak to us about some things that she's going to be doing with the city. And of course, I spoke with her briefly before we began, and I think it would be great to sort of have her come and talk about that, and then continue to keep an open line of communication with her as we move forward. So thank you to Sherry for coming and introducing herself. We do appreciate that. And hopefully we can keep a good line of communication. Other than that, I was going to mention the gala, but Sophie beat me to it. Yeah, that's all I had at this time for the chair report. Next is the Community Engagement Committee, and we have Miss Rachel Hawkins.
Thank you. So I actually have a lot to report right now. So I had a meeting with Linda Evans at CTN, and we have a lot of exciting events upcoming and some things for us to talk about as a commission for follow-up. So first off, it's Ann Arbor Downtown Blooms Day on this upcoming Saturday, May 18th, and they're going to have the annual clean out of the sensory garden. So there's going to be free lunch, pizza, beverages, you get a free t-shirt, and it is at Liberty Plaza, so at the corner of East Liberty and South Division. So that's something very exciting coming up, and we hope that people volunteer and sign up if they're, you don't have to know how to garden ahead of time. So there's other tasks that are not related to gardening, so it's a good opportunity to get out and see people. Also related to Liberty Plaza with our sensory garden, the lineup for Sonic Lunch had just been announced recently, so that'll be going June 6th through August 29th, and that's all free. Thursdays at 11:30, so definitely encourage you to check out their website as well, which is www.soniclunch.com. So it's a good combination of getting to see the sensory garden and also having a musical experience while doing it. So now I have some other updates related to CTN. So for right now, the Ann Arbor Inclusive is going to be going to taping bi-monthly to accommodate the staffing levels at CTN. So they're not going to be taping 2 shows each session, so they'll still have one show per month. So we're not certain if this is going to work in terms of what their goal is.
Okay.
They said that it will take until the end of the financial year,
Okay.
fiscal year, to really know if this is effective and kind of solve the problem with having enough staff for taping.
Mm-hmm.
So that we're seeing how that works. It's a work in progress. I know Linda also mentioned, just noting that there had been some changes in the show, so the intro and outro now say that it's on behalf of the Commission on Disability Issues, so she wanted to mention that as well. So she did have some requests. So apparently there was a public service announcement some years prior. I think Sally had been in it. So Linda was asking about if we were interested in creating a new public service announcement, either about the Disability Commission in general or about talking about our subcommittees and different work. So she wanted to see as a commission if that was something that we were interested in and felt comfortable with. We wouldn't necessarily all need to be in it. We could figure out what that would look like. So that was one thing that she had asked about. Also related to the sensory garden, I know there's been some issues with the Braille nameplates are coming off of the near the plants. So I think she was hoping that we could maybe look into some other kind of replacement. I know she mentioned maybe like seedlings, Braille books for children. They might have something where we could redo the Braille. So that's still a part of our sensory garden.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of what we have coming up. And then I know we were hoping to coordinate a meeting with everyone involved in Ann Arbor Inclusive and the commission who's involved coming up soon to
Sure.
see how everything's going
Sure.
since the meeting. So that's all I have. So it's a lot of updates and some questions of what we want to do.
Sure, and great stuff, Rachel. And Sally, did you have a comment?
Yeah, can I just respond to the PSA? So the PSA, I think, it's generic enough, I guess, that it's still factual.
Okay.
The only issue is that I introduced myself as chair of the commission, which I am no longer.
Okay.
So we can dub in vice chair, or we can just do something completely different
Sure.
and use it as an opportunity to refresh and update and make it maybe more specific to, what's going on today. So my recommendation is it probably needs to be reshot.
Okay.
With current leadership or the commissioners in general. I mean, it could be everyone.
Yeah.
So I think it's an opportunity to put a new face on the commission and move it forward.
It'd be fun to do with everyone.
I agree with both of you. I think maybe talking about when we meet at CTN with Ann Arbor Inclusive and have that meeting with Linda and Tom, talk about maybe including all of us as a commission or those that are comfortable with being in the PSA. Because again, we're a team and we're a commission and we're a group. So yeah, I would definitely be open to that. All of us saying a few words about the commission or however we want to plan that. And so, are you guys comfortable, Rachel, when we set that date to meet with Linda? I sort of bring that idea up to her and then sort of talk about how that could be done.
Yes, and I know Linda was hoping that we could possibly do it on the same day as one of their tapings, and I have those dates.
Okay.
I just wanted to recognize Kathleen. She was about to say something, and
Oh,
I
sorry,
want to let her.
Kathleen.
I apologize.
jump in.
Mine was with regards to Bloomsday and the sensory garden. I got the date, but did I miss the time? Did you?
Oh, my apologies. Did I not include it? Okay, so Bloomsday this Saturday, May 18th, and it starts at 8:30, and it'll go till around 11.
Thank you.
That is
That's the
AM.
estimate
8:30
that I
AM?
had.
Yeah.
Yeah, 8:30 a.m. to
Yes,
11 a.m.
to 11
correct?
a.m.
Yeah.
I've done it before. I won't be able to make it this year, but just when you come down there, if you can get in there prepared to be dirty. Because you can root around and cut things.
Sure. And I wanted to just make a point, in terms of the sensory garden, I know that Linda has been doing a lot of effort with maintaining that, but also wanted to bring forth just somebody that would be interested in kind of coordinating with her in terms of help for that, and being able to maintain the sensory garden, or how that works, and kind of giving her some help. I know that, she's been doing a lot of that work by herself, so I think as a commission too, if there are people, that are interested, that want to help.
Yeah, I
Go ahead.
do know that the Lions Host Club is helping her.
Okay.
So it's been sort of taken over by the Lions Club a little bit.
Okay.
But it's still a project underneath the Community Engagement Committee.
Okay, got it.
Larry,
Larry?
I'm calling on Larry.
Again, I think I'm probably the only commissioner left that was around when we put that down. It was the reason she wants help with that. Now, I can't get there this Saturday because I have something else going on, but I'll volunteer to coordinate with her more. That was in dedication and started by a commissioner, Pam Trissot, who died in 2011, and that's why the garden was put forward and built. So that's why the commission keeps saying it, because we'd like to still have commissioners to help on it.
Yeah, definitely agreed, Larry, and I think,
Can I ask a question about the garden itself? Is it off the ground, or is it, is it above ground a little bit?
Yeah.
It's in a built-in planter, sort of a built-in walled, basically they take one of the walls and it encircles the sensory garden.
You were in the start of that, Sally, too.
I was here, yeah.
I was just wondering if it was accessible to a wheelchair person.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you, Rachel, for that report.
Thanks.
Yeah, and then as far as Partners and Access Committee, I know Allison, again, could not be here due to work, but is there anyone that could report anything for the Partners and Access Committee at this time?
We did
Elizabeth?
not meet, as far as I know. Did we, Kathleen?
Well, there wasn't a meeting, but we talked at the last meeting about the possible requirement that events disclose their accessibility issues. And I did touch base with the city attorney about how that would work, because I'm new to this.
Sure.
And so I'm going to have him have background ready for us to talk about at the next Partners in Access meeting, because
Oh.
he said that he would look at other communities and see what's out there. He's already mulling it over, so that's an update
I'm
of
looking
sorts.
forward to that.
I think it'd be really neat. I think it would be a really helpful thing.
Yeah, I think being able to have a access plan, for city events and things is definitely important. So thank you, Elizabeth, and Larry for looking into that. And yeah, was there anything else in terms of Partners and Access Committee, or is that pretty much? Okay, yeah, no problem. All right. And then, let's see, Elizabeth, could I ask you about that, ADA coordinator? Did you find?
Yes. So the ADA law requires that a municipality like ours have a coordinator. It's just sort of part of the law.
Okay.
And what it looks like is that the city of Ann Arbor had to designate somebody, and so they basically picked an employee who is tracking a whole lot of things. It's the city clerk, Jackie Beaudry.
Oh.
So it's just one of many jobs that she has. And
Okay.
so, actually, the fact that Sherry Sell came by
Yeah.
and introduced herself, it strikes me that it might be worth having a conversation with her and
Yep.
find out if maybe she would be a more appropriate person
Yeah.
to be that contact.
Okay.
It sounds like basically the city had to check a box in terms of ADA compliance.
Sure.
And, while Jackie is definitely a person who's easy to reach and is accessible and is used to tracking down a lot of things, it's one of many, many things on her plate.
Yep.
So,
Can I just add a little color commentary?
Sure.
To that? So, historically, we've also, when we needed an ADA assessment, we've outsourced that to the CIL, and Carolyn is, so
Okay.
it's typically the role of the executive director
Gotcha.
of the Ann Arbor CIL, Center for Independent Living, as we heard earlier today, to actually conduct assessments if
Okay.
necessary, because sometimes that's required, and so the city has outsourced it to the Ann Arbor CIL.
Well, here's a question to the commission then. Is that something that we can, I will, reach out to Jackie as well as Sherry, but is that something we can continue to do? I actually met with Alex Gossage this past week.
Okay,
We
good.
had coffee, and he expressed to me that he was interested in sort of getting involved with the commission. So I'm thinking that, that
great.
may be a role, as well as maybe an additional that he would be interested in continuing.
Well, I wonder, because more and more, as a commission, we are being included in any kind of redevelopment or infrastructure change to make sure it is accessible, but I don't want the city to rely on individual commissioners
Okay.
for that approval. I think it needs to come from someone who is ADA certified, and that would probably be someone at CIL.
Okay.
So maybe it would be helpful, Elizabeth, if you can help the administration understand that when they need those requests, that they should go to the CIL for specificity,
Yep.
or for the specific expertise that they need.
Yeah. I agree with you. And what I'll do, Sally, is I'll get in touch with Alex.
Okay.
And sort of start that ball rolling and see, if that's something that he's interested in continuing, because I
Yeah.
agree with you. That's important. So thank you, Elizabeth, by the way, for looking into that. I do appreciate it. All right. Okay. Next, I would like to move forward to recruiting activity and Mr. Larry Keeler.
I have nothing except that you can contact 794-6161, or of course, if you see any of us, and you can request an application. I think you can also go to a2.gov boards and commissions and get one, and you fill that thing out, and you'll be put on and eventually cleared through the mayor's office and city council, and you may get a position. I think did you ever find out how many positions we had left, Zach?
You know what? Good question, Larry. And
I forgot to go talk to Christine my
It looks like
my
we have
ride
a
was
full
running really
commission
late,
right
so I
now.
didn't talk
Yep.
to
I mean, if you
Christine
look
this
at the meeting minutes, there's 13 people, so.
Yeah, I was.
Oh,
Yeah, pardon me, Sally. I didn't mean to interrupt. I agree with you. It looks full to me, Larry. I was going to initially say that I was going to say that we either had a spot or were full, but then Sally did answer that, so thank you.
What was that answer again, Sally?
we are full. I looked at the minutes from the last meeting, and there are 13 names between who is present and who is absent.
Oh, well, thank you
There
then.
was 13 names, so there are 13 members.
Good.
But don't let that stop you from applying, because sometimes some of us members do things like decide we end up having different things and have to step down, or somebody's term may be coming up and they may not, for whatever reason, they may not want to get back on, so you may still get an opening, so don't let that stop you from applying.
Well, and I can completely agree with you, Larry. And I'd also like to point out, folks, that if you are interested in at all being involved with the Commission on Disability Issues, we do allow people to join subcommittees. So to still be involved with subcommittees and help out with that, and help out with the activities that our subcommittee chairs are working on. So although our commission is full at this time, please do not hesitate to apply and express your interest in working on a subcommittee, whether that, would be recruiting, or whether that's partners in access or community engagement, whatever you have a passion for. We strive to make the city more inclusive, and all of us are doing that. Go ahead, Larry.
And one more thing, since we're plugging the commission nice and good here, we usually have fairly empty public comment seats. If anybody needs to come in and make a public comment, you're also encouraged to do that, and you can also stay afterwards, watch the meetings, and see if that wouldn't be a thing for you as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Larry. So next, moving on from recruiting activity, is the Transportation Commission update from Mr. Tim Hall.
Yeah, so we've been busy. I mean, we have a meeting tonight. We had a meeting a month ago. I sent the link to the agenda. I'm wondering, should I send the link right after the meeting? Because they have the draft minutes, like, those came just a few days ago, the draft minutes for last, and we officially approved them tonight, and we have the agenda for tonight. But anyway, we had a few updates from like AAATA about the bike share, and micromobility, I think, is still on hold a little bit, and
We're still waiting for legal.
yes, and but the big thing we were doing is the 6 E's exercise, where we take these like equity, and well, I took equity, and it took a number of different topics that we, with respect to transportation, explored them, and I explored equity from a mode standpoint. I mean, also highlighting that people with disabilities are going to be likely to not be able to drive or have other mobility issues, and that, yeah, we need to take that into account with respect to like road designs, construction impacts, and things like that. And also brought up the issues of like automobile level of service, how that is more auto-focused and doesn't take into account other aspects. And so I had this in my report, and I was going to update it a little more. I mean, if there's any other equity impacts some people want to mention. I mean, we haven't finalized our reports yet, and there are other reports on the website if you wanted to look at them, where everyone picked a topic. But yeah, the other thing, we did discuss the Crosswalk Ordinance, and just opted to essentially recommend leaving it alone for now, pending any state action. And it looks like we're going to talk a little bit about what state action was proposed last year, because we don't have this year's version of the state crosswalk bill yet at this meeting. And the other thing that came up is the road diet resolution that requires council approval for all road diets. And I actually, number of members of that commission are interested in, and I helped compose some text expressing our concerns about that council action, and saying that we want to go back to the old way where council didn't have to approve every road diet. And yeah, we expressed concern about the use of level of service, but that's coming up on the agenda tonight for consideration. Yeah, so that's, I mean, tonight we're getting an update from the RTA, which that's another thing. I've been on the RTA Citizens Advisory Committee, and had a couple meetings so far. It looks like they're in the process of updating their plan, presented us some of the first things with it, and expressed my concern that we fill the hole between Wayne and Washtenaw, because that came up, and not just with respect to rail, but with respect to bus service to Western Wayne County as well. And I know that some of the proposed stuff is just commuter peak hour, and raised a little concern with that, because that only gets the commuters to Ann Arbor and downtown Detroit from places, and wouldn't get somebody who can't drive, say, from Ann Arbor to Plymouth, or Ann Arbor to Canton, or someone who can't drive from, yeah, Westland to Ann Arbor, like, but, yeah, so we've got an update on that. We'll talk a little more about that, and we're also going to talk about some of the road diets and traffic calming programs that are coming up.
Okay.
And yeah, so should be an interesting meeting.
No, thank you, Tim. I mean, all of those, I think, are, very important issues to keep, on the forefront of our thought as well. So
Yeah,
I
and if
hope that, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. If you have any other concerns, I mean, probably don't have as much knowledge of like the mobility constraints of someone in a wheelchair,
Right.
or others like, I mean, I have mobility challenges, but they're not to that extent.
Sure.
If you want to share like with respect to ADA and stuff, that things that come up during construction, feel free to reach out to me and I'll try to share the minutes as soon as they come out. I know it's a challenge because usually the Transportation Commission meeting is immediately like 3 hours after this meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, the time can definitely be a factor for sure. But Larry, you had a question.
I did. So the link you sent us, Tim, will they update the minutes on that after, a couple of days after the meetings, or?
The minutes, usually I think the first time I see the minutes from the last meeting is a few days before the next meeting as a draft. Like I got them a couple days ago from April.
Oh, nice. I was hoping to see them before the end of the month.
Yeah, I could try to send them as soon, link as, I mean, you can always look on Legistar
Yeah.
because that's where I get them from. I mean, maybe I get them in an email being on the Transportation Commission 1 or 2 days before that,
But if I check that link a couple of days before the meeting, the ones from the last month should be out.
Yeah.
Tim, didn't you send them to us earlier today?
Yeah, I did. I sent you a
Yep.
link because I figured, I mean, I saw that we were getting the stuff from the Council for Disability Concerns, and I figure it would be nice to have those attached, even if it is at the last minute, because they take a long time to, and they're not official yet. They're draft minutes. I should emphasize that, just because they won't get to approve them until tonight.
Right, right, okay. Well, no, thank you, Tim, for all your work, on the Transportation Commission.
And if you have any concerns with anything I raise, let me know, because I know we're taking actions on various things, and just,
Right, and I mean, I think it's important, what you noted in terms of, people with mobility issues, and kind of how that would work in terms of, some of the things that you're working with. So I'd like to encourage too, our commission, that if we have ideas or feedback, on those things that are being worked at, reach out to Tim, or reach out to myself, and we can definitely do our best to incorporate that and push it forward. Kathleen, you had a comment?
I have a micromobility question. It might be for Elizabeth or Tim, but I know Bird is gone, Spin is here, and from what I understand, they're under like a limited contract for right now. And my question is, when a citizen has a concern about how a Spin is parked that limits mobilities on the sidewalks and whatever, I've been taking pictures, who do we send them to so that they're aware that these problems are occurring? Is it something that we would send to the Transportation Commission? Do we talk to our council, our ward council, and say, I'm coming up against these concerns? What would be the best way to address these
I mean,
issues?
I don't know. I mean, I don't, it would depend. I mean, could it be, I know there's like the A2 Fix-It or something. I don't know if that might be the most appropriate, but just,
I would actually suggest A2 Fix-It, because that is an opportunity for other people to see your complaint and sort of give it like a thumbs up or a thumbs down. What I've seen, I don't spend a lot of time on A2 Fix-It. Kathy, Councilmember Griswold spends a lot of time on A2 Fix-It. She's reporting all the lights that are out, because it's just exasperating to her to see crosswalks that are in the dark. But at any rate, if you put things on A2 Fix-It, it's an opportunity for other members of the community to say, like, yeah, I'm seeing that all over. Staff is collating it and organizing it, and so that would be raw data that we can use when we're making decisions about maybe if we decided we didn't want to renew the Spin contract, we would have evidence like, look how many complaints we got. A2 Fix-It is just a really good place for the city to have visible evidence of a problem.
And does that platform allow one to upload photos?
I think it does. I'm pretty sure I've seen photos on A2 Fix-It. I've never
It does.
uploaded a photo to it, but you can.
Okay. Larry?
That's where I've been telling people to go to, because the Micromobility Committee hasn't even got a better suggestion yet.
And then, as far as A2 Fix-It, like, if somebody, again, reports something that has to do with accessibility, I mean, we're able to see that as well, right? Like, anybody in the city can see those.
The A2 Fix-It complaints?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. Is there anything else on that subject? Okay.
Just a point of curiosity, because
Sure.
I haven't been on that platform. Is that anonymized, or is that, how is that?
Oh, gosh, I'm not sure. I think I think some of the things that have you, wait, did you just say you hadn't or you
I
had?
have not.
Have not, okay. I think I might have seen both. I think you have to identify the location that you're at, maybe. I'm not totally sure about that, but like I said, I know that it's a way of collecting data. We get data from A2Fix-It. I know that
Okay.
we can ask questions like, I know Councilmember Griswold has asked that everything that's A2Fix-It related to crosswalks be given its own category so that we actually can quantify it.
I can add to that. I've used A2Fix-It before, and when you process your application, you can choose. Would you like to do it anonymously, or would you like to do it with your email and your address? So some things I've put in, and it's like, I don't know if I really want to be identified with
Sure.
this, so I just put it in anonymously. And others, I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to keep tracking this, because I believe if you put your information in, then you can see the tracked information more readily because your address is already there. Or not your home address, your email address.
Got
Thank
it.
you very much.
So, yeah, so just to clarify, when you submit something to A2Fix-It, there is an option either to be anonymous or have your information in there, more specifically your email.
I believe it's your email.
Okay, great. All right. Okay, anything else on that? All right. We'll go ahead to move forward. Of course, we don't have the council report, so we'll go through to any announcements for the commission. Is there any that we have today, folks? No? Okay. All right. And then, do we have any new business? Anything that anyone just wants to sort of bring to light? Anything at all? Larry?
I forgot to look at the information this morning, but were you CC'd on Amy Shepherd's request for the crosswalk, the audible APSs for her crosswalks? I think one was Washington and Huron Parkway,
Okay.
and I think there was another one, I can't remember, but were you CC'd on that list?
You know what? I'm pretty sure that I was. I remember, I think, seeing something, but I'll have to go back and double check.
I'll bring it up again next month, but it's coming up. She wants she's been asking for a couple of APSs and like,
Sure.
and.
Would you be able to resend that to me so then I
Yeah,
can?
I can resend that to
Thank
you.
you.
I also gotta look at it. I got busy. I had a couple meetings this morning and everything was running late.
Sure. But yeah, if you can resend that to me, I can take a look at that. And then, what was she hoping that we could do?
She was hoping we could advocate for the crosswalks in those
Okay.
positions because they're audible pedestrian signals.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have noticed that there's been some more of those going up, and that's excellent. I love that.
Yeah.
I can control my crosswalk at some of those APSs, the ones on Stadium. You can wave your hand in front of them and crosswalk, there you go, and you get across, and lots of traffic go again. It's
Well-
perfect because it also registers your intent to cross as soon as you touch your hand on that thing, so. I'm hoping we do get a couple more of those, so I'll send you the specifics sometime this evening after I get home.
Thank you, Larry, and I'll definitely look for that. And I was actually going to piggyback on that and say that I've been doing my best to kind of keep an eye on that and how those have been working. And, I've been using them downtown, and they're working very well. So,
I used them a lot.
I was able to use one too on Washington in Huron Parkway area.
and did it work well?
Yeah.
Okay,
Was there
good.
one in that area?
Well, it was actually Washington and over by Arborland.
Yeah, that's,
Is that?
might be.
All right. And then Elizabeth, you have a question?
Yeah, so
No.
what is the location you're talking about? Because I was searching, I have a series of emails from Amy Shepherd as well, and I think it might be a different stream of emails, because Jane
It
Lum
might,
and Kathy
did
Griswold
she
are on it.
list any locations?
She's not listing locations, but is one of the locations on Washtenaw?
I thought it was Washington here in Parkway, but I could be wrong. I was talking to her earlier this month. I
Okay.
do have the email stuff. I could send it to you too.
Yeah,
Because I asked her the specific ones, because one of them was specific in her, more towards her neighborhood, and I couldn't remember.
So this subject was bounced around in an email thread that included me, Councilmember Griswold, and Councilmember Lum. And what I'm reading in the thread that I found in my mailbox is, Washtenaw is a state trunk line, so the process of getting an audible signal at an intersection on Washtenaw is there's a little bit more red tape because we have to go through MDOT.
You have to-
That's
Oh.
the only update I have on that.
Got it.
The one I used there was very good. It basically told you to stop when, or when to walk.
If you go through MDOT though, that is a different. But I think there was another one. I'll send them to you because I asked her specifically which ones they were, so. I'll
Yeah.
send them to you guys and we'll address them next month then before we, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to do that if we could, and thank you, Larry, for resending it.
I wanted to loop back kind of to the conversation around the ADA coordinator. The reason it was brought up last month was because when we were talking about this possible city ordinance, we wanted to think about who could oversee these events and make sure things are happening the way that they should.
Right.
And so now, having clarified who this ADA coordinator is, I was just wondering if we could open up a conversation around what it would look like to get someone new involved. I know, Sally, you were mentioning that going through CIL was how assessments were done. So just thinking about, one, the standard we want to set for having those assessments,
Right.
quarterly, monthly, this thing, and also what it could look like to kind of reallocate that role off of the city clerk, given their responsibilities.
Agreed. I think it's important to kind of outline the expectations so that that person, whoever it is, can meet that.
Yeah, Larry.
Go ahead, Larry.
I have a suggestion. If whoever the ADA coordinator, acting coordinator is, if we're gonna dump that on CIL, or if our esteemed city clerk is going to be doing some of that, I don't know if we can get them to be a substantial part of our meeting, but maybe we should get them in to get them in as a guest speaker to enhance the procedure on how to connect with the ADA coordinator and talk with them and bring the subjects up to them. Since we are the Commission on Disabilities, I think we want to work on having whoever's doing the coordination and kind of in
Right.
our back pocket a little bit, so we can refer to them when we come, because we obviously get a lot of ADA questions coming up, and maybe if we were to invite them for the June meeting or maybe the September meeting, we could talk with them and figure out how we do that process a lot quicker.
Agreed with you, Larry. I think what you mean, is to make sure that that line of communication is fluid, right? So, if Julie was doing it beforehand, then whoever is appointed or who we're looking to appoint, if we can have both of them sort of be able to connect with us and then sort of have Julie kind of describe what she was working on or sort of doing with the city, I think that could help.
Do you mean Jackie?
Do you mean
Or
Jackie?
Jackie, I'm
Jackie,
sorry.
yeah.
Jackie, you're right. Sorry about that. Sorry, Jackie. But yeah, have Jackie communicate with the candidate that we've selected, whether it's CIL or whomever it is, so that they can be on clear communication in terms of, what they were being presented with and then how to go about that. So I agree with you. Do you guys think it's a good idea to have them present or be, at the next meeting? Or should we, kind of figure out who the candidates are and then move forward?
So, one question would be, what is the job description of Sherry Sell, who I asked, does that mean you will be coordinating ADA issues? And she gave me a very puzzled look, like, never heard of that before. So I do think we need some clarity from somebody.
Right.
If I can just jump in here.
Sure.
My experience has been that the city just doesn't have an FTE for an ADA coordinator. And so, and we can certainly argue for a case there should be an FTE for an ADA coordinator. So Jackie is sort of that ad hoc. To Elizabeth's point, someone has to have that assignment, and that's Jackie. Whether or not she's actively doing something, given the plate that she has, which is quite full with elections and everything. So, as I said, that work when it's needed, when someone needs to do an assessment.
Yeah,
And I've talked to Eli Cooper about this. A lot of it has to do with transportation issues and infrastructure issues.
okay,
It's always gone to Carolyn so she was sort of doing the work of an ADA coordinator, and presumably the city was paying the CIL for her hours to do that.
oh, wow, okay.
But she is in
But-
Tallahassee.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
not
she's
here
in
anymore.
Florida now. So,
Yeah.
so again, I don't know if Alex Gossage was aware that she was doing that kind of work, or that the city had previously had a relationship with Ann Arbor CIL. So I think, to Christiana's point, is let's move this forward
Yeah,
and find out what is today's status, and then how can it be improved?
Right.
And what would be a better format? But I don't really have the current, knowledge as to what exists today. I know what existed 2 years ago.
sure,
but-
sure. And maybe we can even, so really quick, maybe we can even find out, if there is a description of that ADA coordinator for the city. I don't know if they have one listed, or if they're, you know what I mean? If their duties are listed somewhere, like in the city database, or if they have something. If not, then we can come up with that, what the requirements are, and what's expected in terms of, again, transit, infrastructure, other things. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Well, it also occurs to me that it would be interesting information to know how often we turned to Carolyn.
Right.
How often we had, what is the frequency of contacts? I hope that Jackie's kept track of that. I could reach out to Jackie and find out.
Sure.
Another example is when the police, chief of police had agreed to help with the distribution of the disability resource cards and do the training on communications and disability awareness with the Ann Arbor Police Department, the U of M Police Department, and I think the county police department as well. Carolyn coordinated all of that. So that was, again, something that our AAPD, our chief of police, agreed to fund out of his budget, and then, again, that went to the CIL.
Got it.
In my experience as a citizen, a lot is falling through the cracks. Before I joined this commission, I really tried to get some feedback on some ADA issues, completely unsuccessful with that. I didn't get the sense that that office was equipped in any way to deal with those kinds
Which
of
office
issues.
did you go to?
I eventually was put in touch with Jackie Beaudry's office,
Yeah.
and there just wasn't any, far as I could tell, any training or preparation for the kinds of questions that I was asking, and it felt like a complete and total dead end. So I'm braced to see that the city has added this employee, but it would be very important for us to know what that, her job description is, and perhaps even to raise the question of, well, wouldn't she be a logical person to propose for ADA certification so that we can bring this community even a little bit closer to some kind of ADA compliance, because we are nowhere near that at this point.
Yeah, there's definitely always work to be done, folks. Larry, you have a comment?
I suppose, I propose we kick this, I propose we either form or kick this to a committee so that we can work on this over the
Yeah.
summer, too. If we don't get this done, by next month, we should work on this over the summer and find out if, who,
You
and
think we
what
have
their
to take
duties
this
are,
to
and if we
committee
can
just to get an
actually.
answer of whose responsibility is? That
Well,
seems,
I think, so Sherry reports to John Fournier, and maybe this is a conversation we have with John Fournier, the Assistant City Administrator. Because I think this is under his umbrella right now.
Okay. Who reports to him?
Sherry told me that she reports to John Fournier now.
So what do we do, so what do we do then, Sally? I mean,
So-
I think people just should maybe meet with John and make a case for it, and then he can make the determination.
could we make something like invite him to our meeting and have a more of a panel
Absolutely.
discussion with him? Because
Yeah.
I think this is an issue that speaks to a lot of
I think,
folks in this room.
yeah, I don't know how much, Sherry used to be our Corey, so Sherry is very familiar with our commission. and what the needs are, but I don't know, again, I have no sense whether or not this is under her inclusion umbrella, or not, if it's included in the inclusion or not.
Right.
Well, if we can't get
So maybe
him,
we need
we-
clarity from Sherry, just in terms of.
She said no, without any.
She said it's not, okay.
She is not. She-
So then,
She couldn't have been more in the dark about what an ADA coordinator
all
even
right,
was.
so then maybe we help her to understand what that means, and she can advocate with us, not for us, but with us to John,
Right.
and, yeah.
Well, and again, if there is information out there, you know, just on what that position does, specifically, if it, or if it did in the past.
What other cities do.
Right, right, exactly. And, you know, and if we can sort of use that as well, you know, when speaking with John, to sort of determine, hey, you know, is this a possibility within your realm? Or again, do we use the external routes? But it's definitely something, guys, that, you know, I think we need to continue to bring forward and get done. Okay, Kathleen, and then Larry.
I'd like to make a proposal, because we're having a lot of questions and concerns, and we're doing a lot of wishing and thinking about this.
Right.
Sherry came to us today and would like to speak to us next month.
Okay.
And I think that would be a good starting point, that instead of us guessing and trying to figure out, that we use Sherry as the starting point, figure
Yeah.
out what it is, how, let her present, and then go from there.
Okay. So Corey, really quick, so I'll send you an email about that, but are we okay with adding Sherry then to the agenda for next month?
Yeah, we can do that, no worries.
Okay.
Would it be appropriate to ask her to, you know, bring in some sense of her job description and perhaps ask her to look into this ADA coordinator? Is that, again, I have no idea what her purview is. Seems like a new position created by the city. Could we ask her as part of her presentation to present some of that, those facts?
Couldn't hurt to give her a heads up in the email, she can speak to it.
Yep.
I think
And-
that we just have talked about that we have still a person. I think that's being bypassed a little bit, is that there's still someone who is currently holding this title. And so I think that in the same fashion that we'd like her to get involved, I think we also need to have the person who is currently holding that title to speak to what they're doing, if they're doing anything, or just what that would look like if we're looking to shift that responsibility off of. We haven't talked about those protocols, if we know what that looks like. So I
Right.
think we need to backtrack to where the starting point is.
And Sherry was saying that it was a new position, and it was new to her too.
All right, Larry, and then Elizabeth.
Yeah, my opinion is, though, is we should straighten this up within the next month, however we do it, or two, over the summer, whatever, because I think that when we get our direct link forged to whoever's supposed to be doing that, or whatever someone's, it'll empower the decisions that we make as a commission to forge those links.
Yeah, agreed with you, Larry. Elizabeth, you had a comment?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that an initial Google of ADA coordinator pulled up a lot of information. I'll send a link to everybody. I think this is a conversation that's really easy to have. First of all, I would say, just based on what I know of all of Jackie's job, Jackie Beaudry, I seriously doubt she would have a problem unloading this off of her plate. And but in terms of a conversation about what she's experienced as the group coordinator thus far, I think that would be an interesting conversation to have. But I can reach out to John Forney and have a conversation with him about this.
Yeah.
There's enough readily available information that I don't think it's a big mystery in terms of what the ideally trained, situated person
Sure.
would be or could be. And if he's the one who's supervising
Sherry.
Sherry, then he's the one who would know her job description as
Right.
well as anybody, so.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with that, Elizabeth. I think that's a good method to go about. If you don't mind reaching out and
do
gaining
that.
some information, I do appreciate you being our commission investigator.
Happy
Thank you so
to
much.
do that.
Yeah. Also, so do we think, though, it's still a good idea for Sherry to present next month and just
I
have
would
her
agree.
speak about it?
But to Christiana's point, do we also want to invite Jackie to tell us how this role, I mean, she's the other side of the wall during our meetings. Can she come over for 5 minutes and just say what she does or does not do, or what she thinks needs to be done?
And
'Cause-
just a grace of approval to move forward with shifting said responsibility.
It seems wise.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think communication is very, very key in this, because either way, it's going to be a transition. And so I think the more of better communicators all of us can be, especially those that had the position in the past, and then whomever is going to continue that, I think that's very important. So yeah, so then I guess, folks, what I'll say with that is, I will look for that. I mean, all of us hopefully will look for that information from Elizabeth, and then we'll also have Sherry present at the next meeting, and then, I mean, would it be good to have Julie as well?
Jackie.
Or Jackie? Pardon me.
If Julie knows anything, you can bring her too.
Yeah, I don't know why, Jackie, I keep saying Julie, I do apologize. But, so would it be wise to have them both?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, what I'll do is I'll send this, in an email to you, Corey, just about having Jackie and Sherry on the agenda for next month, so that we can both have them kind of talk about that.
Can do.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else on this ADA coordinator topic?
Quickly, Elizabeth, what were you saying you were planning to have the meeting about with Sherry's boss? Just revisit that.
Oh, I was just, so I actually did bring up the topic of the disability coordinator at the table, and when we have new council members are having orientation meetings with the legal department every Thursday morning, and I brought this up last week or week before, and I was just asking questions about it, and the fact that Jackie was designated, and there was sort of agreement around the table that she was a contact person who's regularly in City Hall, like is picking somebody who's already here full-time is helpful.
Sure.
Yeah, so I was not talking about having like a hardcore.
Sure, okay.
I was just gonna reach out to John and be like, so this is a conversation we've been having, and what is the job description of Sherry Sal, like, would this fit in, or just sort of preliminarily ask. 'Cause
Right.
he might have a clear idea of a lot of things that he's put on her plate, and this would be a lot I figured he might know in just sort of a casual conversation.
Sure.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Is there any other questions or comments? No? Okay, so again, just to clarify, Corey, I will be in touch with you about both of those things. And then Elizabeth, yeah, once you find out some information, if you could send that our way, that would be great. Thank you. All right. Other than that, folks, that's all I have. Does anybody else have any final remarks? All right. Well, I think we are adjourned. So thank you, everybody, for your attendance today. Hopefully you can enjoy the great weather. And again, thank you to the City of Ann Arbor and to CTN. We'll see you next time.